millions of people.
We are talking a lot about struggling small businesses and business owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum wage.
I do. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level.
Because the fact is that the programs that are labeled as being for the poor, for the needy, almost always have effects exactly the opposite of those which their well-intentioned sponsors intend them to have.
As an example, what are you referring to?
Let me give you a very simple example. Take the minimum wage law. It's well-meaning sponsors. There are always in these cases two groups of sponsors. There are the well-meaning sponsors, and there are the special interests who are using the well-meaning sponsors as front men. You almost always, when you have bad programs, have an unholy coalition of the do-gooders on the one hand and the special interests on the other. The minimum wage law is as clear a case as you could want. The special interests are, of course, the trade unions, the monopolistic craft trade unions in particular. The do-gooders believe that by passing a law saying that nobody shall get less than $2 an hour or $2.50 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is, you are helping poor people who need the money. You are doing nothing of the kind. What you are doing is to assure that people whose skills are not sufficient to justify that kind of a wage will be unemployed. It is no accident that the teenage unemployment rate, the unemployment rate among teenagers in this country, is over twice as high as the overall unemployment rate. It's no accident that that was not always the case.
I find that very interesting what he's saying right there, Rodney, because statistics has proven that raising the minimum wage does not help people at the bottom. It actually harms them because they do not have skills.
So
what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so what would help? Now I think it should be more than, like, I don't agree with, and I think Biden is saying that $15 an hour for federal workers. I'm not sure if he's saying it for non-federal workers, or is he saying $15 across the board? Do you know that anybody who hires somebody has to pay $15 an hour?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what is he saying? Because I don't know how can he overreach and say that private businesses have to pay $15 an hour. That would be unfair to businesses who can't afford it. However, businesses can afford it. Like say for Amazon. At Amazon, the minimum, the smallest employee, like the lowest level employee should be making $40 an hour. That's people who sweep it, wipe up, stuff like, you know what I'm saying? So but they would take advantage of $15 or less while he makes billions and billions. So when does it trickle down? When does he call profit sharing that made the United States of America the country that it once was, whenever one parent had to work, whether it was the husband or wife, only one had to work and was able to have all the luxuries that we can't have with everybody in the house working, kids on YouTube, everybody in the house working now. And we still don't have what one parent earned back in the day. So when are they going to trickle down versus, I don't think they should force small companies to pay something that they can't make. And I don't think they could probably do it through taxes or something like that. But how do they get those super rich to trickle down that wealth to where Walmart is the biggest family-owned business on the planet, makes billions and billions and billions of dollars, but yet they teach their employees about welfare? That's the fact. You know what I'm saying? Where they only hire part-time, where they don't share their profits. We got to share the profits, and those big companies have to pay. And then you won't have to worry about $15 a minimum wage for companies that can't afford it.
Well, let me say this, Rodney. I actually agree with what you're saying concerning that. To me, we have gotten here through the degradation of the public's education. You know what I mean? That the average private citizen is ignorant. But not even just that. The ones at the top, these people like Jeff Bezos that owned Amazon, they are still private citizens too. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I kind of feel like in the past there was a time in this country where the upper class that owned the companies, the businessmen, actually did care about the well-being and livelihood of their workers. You see what I'm saying?
And
example.
That's not the case now.
Right. I'm gonna give you the example.
Yeah.
My dad had an excellent retirement from Giant Food. Right. Giant Food used to be the largest employer in Prince George's County, Maryland. My dad worked there for over 40 years, had an excellent retirement from there. He was under the old contract with the union, right? Well, what's crazy is before he retired, he was telling me about like the new contract under the union and how like a lot of the younger workers, my generation, the younger, how they don't have nearly the amount of benefits, not even the type of pension, none of that his generation had. But also the ownership changed. See, an international company bought Giant Food out. So it used to be family ran, family owned, but they were bought out by an international company named Ahold. Was AHOLD. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think
no, so if not to cut you off, so what you're saying is, because a buddy of mine that graduated high school with me, I'm not gonna say his name, he snuck into that old contract. He killing them at
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
He got everything, man. But he ain't never. He came straight out of high school. He graduated a year after me. That's over 35 years.
Yeah.
So he's been killing them. So I get it. So what you're saying is that, or I'm gonna ask the question: are you saying that the company that something should be in place where those companies should have to take care of, at least if they don't do nothing for the community, they have to take care of their workers, and then their workers have the moral and civic duty to help the community if need be?
I think that will be a great thing.
Are you saying that these people, these big companies are making all that money, are not doing that?
I'm saying I think the first example you gave would be a great thing. And now I will also say that I do believe these companies are doing some things to help the community, but that is subjective. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So if these companies are bought by foreign, like international entities, right? So they don't really care.
Exactly. They don't care about American values.
But guess who can control it?
Our government.
I'm coming out of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the Constitution. It says Congress, these are powers granted to Congress under the Constitution. Congress shall have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations among the several states. That means, and that's anybody that's under their jurisdiction. That means all these big companies, it doesn't matter who buy them. If these companies are doing business within the United States territory or with any of what they call American citizens, they have to follow these rules.
Yeah, they subject to our
You know
laws.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But see, and those rules was governed by those old union contracts that you just explained about your father. Right. That to whereas only person your father had to work, y'all had a nice house.
Yeah.
Multiple kids, multiple family, and did everything y'all wanted to do. And you just say you had a great pension. That's profit sharing. Yeah. Congress has the power to force these companies. They don't have to tax them. They have the power to force these companies to take care of their workers. So even if an outside entity purchased that American company, or that company is doing the majority of his business, or damn not any of his business in the jurisdiction of the United States of America and their territories, they have to operate a certain way. But Congress is not doing that. Why? Because they're taking that money. Say, don't pay the people, pay us.
Exactly. No, I agree.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what you call lobbyists.
Yeah.
So therefore they pay the lobbyists tax breaks, and they paid the government, the same senators. You know that they take. It's all you gotta do is check their record. Ask Mitch McConnell.
You're right. How do these career politicians become multi-millionaires?
How does politicians become? They just said, if you Google the net worth
The
of
crooks,
Mitch
man.
McConnell, it'll be
Yes.
around $30-something million. That's his
Yeah.
net worth, right?
Yep.
Google it. You can Google it if you want to. He's been in Congress for 30-something years, 35, 36 years. He makes about what they make, $300,000-$400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google that, John. So that we can give
So we get facts. 22.5 million.
22.5 million.
Yep.
So if they're saying his net worth is 22.5 million, and Google his salary.
All right. Mitch McConnell's salary.
And the one that I found, his joint was like $30-something million. And then they say that's an estimate. See, I said $30-something million right there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But his salary, how much does he? Okay, how much do AUS?
I don't know.
Seems
what
like
AUS
Australia. Yeah, I believe that would be like Australia. Let me go right here.
And he's also the Senate leader. So I don't know if you get an extra chunk.
Yeah, but still 30 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Man.
exactly.
$174,000.
I gave them credit. I said, fuck it, that's the president's salary. I just said, well, hell, they make the same amount as the president. So at $174,000 annually is right here what they saying that they make. He's been in office, and at Google, how long he's been in office?
Let's see.
So let me write this down. We got 174K. Let's just take 23 and 34. Let's just say he worth like 28. We're gonna give him benefit of doubt. 28 million. 28
right.
28K a year.
Let's see how long he been in office.
I'm saying like 30-some years. And that's from me remembering the article.
All right.
And we don't mean to digress so much, but here at the Power Office, we like to provide facts.
Exactly.
So I would have gave him credit by saying he made 400,000 a year, but he only make like 180. And let's say 200,000 because he's the Speaker of the House. I'm gonna give him 200,000.
84. Yeah, 84. He was first elected 84.
So that's 36 years because that's when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
So 36 years. Where my phone at? You got a calculator right there?
Well, check this out. I was doing the math. Now I just took 30 million. 30 million. Trying to see if you can see it. 30 million divided by 200,000, right?
Uh-huh.
And it would take him 150 years to get to 30 million.
or even better, I'm taking 200,000 and I'm multiplying it times 36 years.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me do the whole 200,000. 200,000. So that's 7.2 million. Did he say, how did he take 7.2 million? That's if he saved every penny that he earned and turn it into $28 million, 20-something million. How did he do that? What trade secrets did that's one senator know from these companies that deal with lobbyists that took away those old contracts to help the people?
Yeah.
Like you and I.
Yeah.
They took away those contracts and put weaker contracts. Who got that gap money?
You right.
You know, who negotiated that? Who in the hell, excuse my language, negotiated that old contract to the new? You know, was it a lobbyist? Who did that? And why did he take 7.2 million? He's a better hustler than me. I thought I was one of the best that ever did it.
Man.
He's a better hustler than me. He took 7.2 million if he saved every single penny, didn't eat, didn't buy a tie, you know what I'm saying, didn't feed his family, didn't send his kids to private schools, didn't do any of the things. If he do any of that, he made 7.2 million over his 36-year political career, but he's worth $28 million. Figure that out and let us know.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you where the evidence point to. These big companies make all this money, and they're gonna say who does it trickle down to? It trickled down to the people, but not the American people, maybe the American politicians.
To the politics. Because I'm gonna tell you what's funny about what you're saying too, Rodney. I know I want to say 2019, I think it was. It might have been 2020, but Jeff Bezos bought a home in Washington, D.C. Now he bought that home so he can be closer to Congress so he can lobby. Man, you already know what that's about.
You don't know how many people I done had that was lobbyists. I mean, I'm sure you have too, had the best conversations with some of these lobbyists. So we speaking fact. You know, he lived in D.C. I live in D.C.
Yep.
We did Uber around D.C. as we was dealing with legal issues, and we got to meet and talk to a lot. I still got I let my wife hear the message I received from a House representative. I picked up early in the morning.
Yeah.
And I talked to her, and she was posted, and she left a message but never called me back because she blocked the number. So that's proof that we have conversations with people. And so they tell us, they laugh all the time. Well, I had people in there who called our senators on their cell phone directly, but yet you and I, who put them in office, can't go see them.
Hey, Rodney, that's real, man.
You know what I'm saying? But yet they're gonna have money in our elections. A corporation like Citizens United is so unconstitutional, it's pathetic.
Right.
They said that a corporation has the same right under the 14th Amendment as you and I do, which is true. But the corporation can't get up and go vote. The corporation only exists on paper.
Yep.
It has state actors and it has private actors who only account for one vote. But the money that the corporation earn can be used to influence our election and our politicians with we just showed and what we allege. If anybody have a problem with that, the lawsuit is called a defamation lawsuit.
Exactly.
Just give me a call and I'll be sure to pick it up. You ain't gotta find me. If you want any defamation, nigga, that's what I'm saying.
Right. I agree. I
apologize for the digress.
Nah, man. Hey, but you know what came out is necessary. You know what I'm saying?